Alright, so making a song out of white noise comes with some challenges. I mean, mainly the fact that I'm making a song out of white noise. So I just want to say I will be using effects, I will be processing the white noise, you know, just so I can kind of make the song listenable. Because if I didn't, the entire song would probably just sound like this. Alright, so now that we got that out of the way, what is white noise? Not to be confused with other forms of colored noise, such as pink noise or brown noise, white noise can essentially be defined as all audible frequencies being played at once at an equal level. Every frequency. So somewhere buried within this sound is every single sound you have ever heard in your life. And so with that, you are able to actually extract tones and sounds from white noise through amplifying certain frequencies and subtracting others. Alright, so I'm not sure what the genre is, but I'm thinking about making a more bass-heavy track. A lot of bass-heavy tracks, the sound design featured on them has a lot of harmonic content. And being that the whole thing about white noise is that it plays every frequency, I think that will kind of work in our favor. Alright, so I'm going to disable oscillator A and enable our noise oscillator. I'm going to select bright white. I don't know, I just feel like bright white is the most white noise sounding white noise that Serum has. And let's choose something a bit more interesting than this. Let's choose Cone Plus. At least I don't know, I'm pretty sure that stands for cone. And let's see what happens when we turn up the resonance. Alright, so now we're getting some actual tones. And we can adjust the pitch by turning down the cutoff. Wow, that's a pretty cool sounding bass. You can also use the note tracking parameter to modulate the cutoff, so that way the note will change depending on what note we play in the piano roll. The only issue here though is that the note tracking thing right here kind of has a linear slope. It's kind of an issue because traditional pitch doubles in frequency per octave. This basically means that pitch in relation to frequency follows an exponential scale, not a linear one. This is basically what's known as equal temperament.
Yeah, Mr. White. Yes, science, 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 science. Yeah, Mr. White. Yes, science.
Sorry, that was kind of weird. The main issue with this is that it's kind of out of tune. I could just render it and then tune it manually. I don't know, I feel like that's kind of cheating. Like once we start resampling, I mean, you can make just about any sound once you start resampling. So yeah, I'm not gonna be doing that. No rendering, only live patches. So what we can do is change this so that it aligns with, yeah, we're not doing that. So we're gonna stick with this linear kind of slope and just kind of earball it.
It's time to do.
All right, let's further process our sound by adding a cool little wubby ADSR envelope. And let's add some EQ, just to kind of boost the fundamental frequencies and just the tonal qualities of the sound. Followed by some hyperdimension for some stereo width, and some distortion for some added grit. All right, so I got a little bass line here. I also did a bit of EQ, and yeah. It's a bit boring right now, so let's go ahead and add a bit more sounds. So from this one patch, we can actually do a lot. We can go ahead and clone the patch and just kind of tweak it around a little bit. And just by doing slight tweaks, we can get totally different sounds. So the main difference I kind of made here was I just kind of got rid of the triangular ADSR envelope. And I also just added a flanger, lowered the high ends. And that just gives me this kind of pretty cool sounding bass, honestly. I also got this thing. I just kind of automated the cutoff of the patch I just showed you, and it gives me this cool kind of like filler effect I can use. This is the same thing, I'm just automating the cutoff, but in a different way. Automating the cutoff again. Here we got this cool kind of cyberpunk bass where I basically have a low pass filter and I'm automating the frequency of the low pass filter. And then I routed all of them into this one bus where I kind of processed them, like boosting the mids just to help accentuate the tonal aspects of the bass. A compressor, and I'm sidechaining it. I also have this patcher patch where I have duplicate signals with one going into this EQ where I have a bandpass filter on the low end. I put it in mono and I just kind of like you know, adjust the volume a bit just so I kind of have a sub bass for the bass. So it just kind of gives it that added low end. And so now there's a bit more movement in the bass line and it sounds like this. So here I have my kick serum patch, resonance maxed up as usual, but I'm using a normal filter, not the Comb Plus. So this filter is giving me a kind of sine wave sound. I have the cutoff modulated by this really fast delay. So the pitch is going down really quick and it gives me this kind of kick kind of sound. You can kind of hear what happens if I make the decay slower. Kind of turns into like a sub bass drop. I also boost the high ends just so it kind of cuts through the mix a bit better. And yeah, I also got some processing here. It's just a bit of EQ. I'm not using OTT, it's off. I use the same kind of patch to get this kind of percussive sound. It's kind of like a zap, except the cutoff, it's got a more kind of bigger range, and it's got some distortion there too. And yeah. All right, so moving on to the clap, a lot of the heavy lifting for this is done by this LFO. So it's just the white noise and I'm using the LFO to modulate the level. And it's kind of mimicking the way the claps typically look in their waveform. So it's got that weird kind of transient thing going on over here. And then the filter really adds to it. So I have this bandpass filter and that just really kind of brings it all together. And it sounds exactly like a clap, which I'm pretty proud of. And then we have some reverb, of course, and yeah, that's basically it for the drums. Of course, we got a white noise riser. You gotta have it. I just kind of modulate the cutoff accordingly throughout the song. All right, so now we need a lead to lead us through these troubling times. I don't know where I was going with this sentence. The first thing that kind of comes to my mind is I kind of want to make like a really repetitive vocal that complements the bass. Kind of like that old meme song, like the one that goes like, I like you cause you got that something that I need. I don't know, but I feel like that'll be kind of hard to make out of white noise. That'll probably take a lot of EQing. Honestly, there's probably a plugin I can use to like mask my voice onto the white noise, but I don't know. I'm not gonna bother with that. Sorry, that's my alarm. So I got a normal filter going on over here, resonance maxed out, of course, and then I have the LFO modulating the cutoff alongside this note parameter thing, and this kind of gives me this like lo-fi kind of wobble. I also got some distortion, so it's more like kind of like a square wave as opposed to a sine wave, and a delay and reverb. And it's just kind of like this drone thing. And yeah. But yeah, that's really about it. If you made it this far and you're new, do please subscribe. And I'll see you next time.